Welcome back to the Pokemon Movie Marathon, and we continue with Pokemon the Movie 2000, subtitled The Power of One. Now, last time I mentioned I didn't much care for the title. Mainly, it's the big 2000 in the middle of it all. I know it was there to say when the movie came out, as well as the two stating it's the second movie, but I imagine sometime in the distant future someone getting confused and placing this at the end mainly for the title, as well as the 2000 naming convention, was really idiotic in 1999. But enough about that, let's talk about the movie. Originally premiering on July 17th, 1999 in Japan, and then in America nearly a year later on July 21st, 2000, this is obviously the second of the Pokemon movies. Now, before we begin with the movie proper, we have to talk about a few things. This movie takes place during the Orange Island arc in the anime, meaning Brock isn't in the current of events. He has a cameo, but he's not here, and he's replaced with Tracy, a rather boring main character. Our movie starts off with some exposition from some ancient old prophecy before a large airship shows up, containing our movie's villain, Lawrence III, and I use the term villain very lightly. He talks to the camera, in context of the scene he's talking to himself or his computer, that he's going after Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos in order to lure out Lugia. He then proceeds to attack Moltres' island, attacking it and eventually snatching it up. And this causes an imbalance in the force or something, I don't know. But we move on from there. We cut to Ash and friends, who are doing their usual bit of running around on the boat with Team Rocket following close behind, before they arrive on Shamudi Island in time for its annual festival. They meet Melody, who's the sister of the person driving their boat. I don't even remember their name. Melody then proceeds to flirt with Ash, which annoys Misty, and then they begin partying it up at the festival. During the ceremony, Melody goes on about her stick, basically calling Ash legendary trainer who will collect 3 glass orbs representing fire, ice, and lightning. This will end the festival, and Ash, being Ash, of course wants to head out immediately, despite there being a huge raging storm outside. Misty and Tracy follow behind them, and Team Rocket follows closely behind, only to wreck their Magikarp sub on a rock. We then cut to Lawrence III, our villain, I say that with quotation marks, who's starting to track Zapdos while Ash and friends are head off to the Fire Island. Ash gets the orb, but then Zapdos shows up and then basically starts claiming Moltres' territory. And then Lawrence's ship shows up, pretty much zaps everybody and snatches them all up. Lawrence quickly finds out he accidentally snatched up Ash and friends, and being rather gentlemanly for a villain, just lets them all free and then explains what's going on before leaving them when Articuno shows up so we can go chase after the bird. The group looks around Lawrence's private museum before deciding to save legendary birds. They manage to save Moltres, who then proceeds to break Zapdos out, before both the birds start attacking the airship when Articuno shows up, This causes the ship to crash down on Lightning Island, where Ash finds the last orb, and the group proceeds to run away to a nearby island. There they meet a talking Slowking, who basically says that Ash has to place the orbs in the shrine, and then before the birds attack the shrine, Lugia shows up, finally, and tries to stop them. But the birds gang up on them and bring it down. But no worries, because apparently Melody is a bard and plays a tune that is able to give Lugia his energy back, who basically explains to the group using telepathy it has for some reason, that Ash has to collect the remaining orb in order to finish the prophecy, which means heading off the Ice Island. However, because all the birds are literally attacking the island, Ash is a bit reluctant before Lugia protects him and basically says he has no choice but to head out and stop the birds from really destroying the world somehow. Ash finds it difficult to get there thanks to, well, everything, but Team Rocket of all people manages to help him get to the island. The birds attack and Lugia manages to fend them off before they manage to reach the island and Ash bags the orb. However, all 3 of them yet again show up to block their path, and Lugia decides to do what it should have done at the very beginning of this and fly them out of there. However, Team Rocket realizes they're slowing Lugia down and decide to sacrifice themselves so that Lugia can fly faster. Team Rocket doesn't die because kids show, and in fact land amongst a large crowd of Pokemon who were there for almost no reason, really. Lugia basically explains they showed up in order to help just in case, but they're really there for just a visual effect of a giant wall of Pokemon. It's now that Lawrence III, yeah, remember him, our quote-unquote villain, manages to activate a trap in order to finally catch Lugia. However, Lugia freaks out, destroys the trap, and is defeated by the remaining birds because it was distracted, falling into the sea unconscious with Ash at its back. This is one of those Pokemon that are there for almost no reason, could have done something. I mean, they wanted to help. Ash is drowning, the supposed savior of the world is drowning. There are plenty of water Pokemon there, but nope, we're just gonna stay there and wait. That's really annoying. Misty comes in and finally manages to do something, saving Ash and Pikachu before getting into the shrine, where Melody plays her song. The song revives Lugia and manages to calm the other three birds down, restoring the balance of the force. Without any younglings being killed, I might add. Lugia takes Ash along one more flight, with the other three birds following behind it, and the giant wall of Pokemon dispersing. And they're still utterly pointless. After Lugia leaves, Ash's mom showed up. Yeah, I've been skipping over their side plot or relevance to the story, it really isn't that important. And Lawrence, in the wreckage of his airship, picks up an ancient Mew card and decides to rebuild. And the film ends with Team Rocket and Slowking breaking the fourth wall, as Slowking tells them the audience has been watching their acts of kindness throughout the whole thing, and Team Rocket freaking out about everything that they just heard. So, how was the movie? Not bad, but at the same time, not as great as it could have been. So, let's start off by comparing the first two movies. This movie's biggest flaw, as well as the flaw of a lot of movies going forward, is its villain. Lawrence III isn't really a villain, he's more an excuse for the plot to happen. We don't really get much motivation about why he's doing any of this. Even in the Japanese version, the only thing we learn is that his mother is dead, and he's like the collector for some reason because of it. Because his motivations, his reasoning, and anything else about him is never explained, he's completely unmemorable. I forgot this character's name for years and just referred to him as that dude with the airship in conversation several times because he's so unmemorable. Because think about it, what was his ultimate end goal? Just to get the birds. What was he going to do after he had the birds? Just show them off in his private museum that only he can go to because it's exclusive to his private airship? I mean, in the long run, outside of the supposed imbalance of nature or the force and the whole imprisoning living creatures, he's not really doing anything all that evil. Hey, wait a minute. Imprisoning creatures against their will. Did N direct this movie somehow? Let's be honest here. With the anti-battle message in the first movie and the anti-catching message in the second movie, I wouldn't be surprised if these two movies were just Team Plasma propaganda. But let's be honest here. The real message of the movie is the power of the individual. The one who will save the world. The one who can get things done. Despite the original Japanese being more about cooperation and Ash never really doing much of anything exactly on his own throughout the whole movie, but he is the one who will save the world. Yeah, if you can't tell, I've been listening to this movie soundtrack and I have the power of one stuck in my head again. Seriously, that song is amazing. And the other issue was with that semi-love triangle between Ash, Melody, and Misty. Almost had alliteration there, didn't we? But yeah, that plot point felt rather weak. Melody's affections toward Ash really didn't feel all that affectionate, and Misty's affections towards Ash in the movie. But yeah, at least Misty managed to do at least a little bit of something towards the end, and Melody was pretty useful throughout. You can't really say much about those types of characters going forward, so let's take what we can get. I'm gonna be honest here. My favorite part of this movie is Team Rocket's subplot. Basically, they're doing their whole shtick of trying to catch Pikachu, but before long, they're trying to figure out whether they should be good guys and help Ash save the world. It's a pretty interesting watch just watching them in the movie, especially the fact they're the funniest bits of the movie. Just their interactions with each other and, well, Slowking at the end. That bit's pretty funny. So, overall, the movie is flawed. But I still say it's good. It has pretty good pacing, so you won't feel as if you've wasted a bunch of time watching it. And on top of that, it's an interesting watch even if the villain is a bit weak. Overall, if you're a fan of Pokemon, which I assume you are, you're probably going to get the most out of this movie. Again, this is a movie for the fans. You won't get anything out of this if you're not a fan. So yeah, approach at your own warning. So now that we're done with this rather weak movie, let's move on to, in what is, in my opinion, the best of all the Pokemon movies. That does not bode well looking forward, does it?